Sam's family was thrilled. After 5 long years of waiting, they could finally move into their new home by the sea. The Seabreeze Apartments had stood empty all that time, caught in a legal mess that kept everyone out. But now, the case was over, and the building was ready for new families to move in. Sam's parents were especially happy. They had been renting a small place, but now they had their own apartment with a beautiful view of the ocean. The building was tall and had many floors, and Sam loved how the wind whistled through the halls. It felt like a fresh start for all of them. But something was not right about Seabreeze Apartments. The building had been abandoned for 5 years. No one had lived there, and now, even with people moving in, it felt strange. At night, the wind made eerie sounds, and sometimes, it felt like there were footsteps in the empty halls. Sam's family heard the noises but brushed them off. "It's just the wind," they said. One night, Sam's friend came over to hang out, as he often did. It was late when he left, and just as he reached the 3rd floor, the lights went out. The building was plunged into darkness. Sam stayed in his apartment, but his phone rang suddenly. It was his friend. "Sam, stop following me." "It's not funny," his friend said, sounding annoyed. "What?" "I'm still in my apartment," Sam replied, confused. His friend didn't believe him and thought Sam was playing a prank. But as he reached the ground floor, he saw something that made his blood run cold. A dark shadow of a man was following him, but when he turned to look, the shadow vanished. Shaking it off as his imagination, his friend quickly left the building, but the uneasy feelings stayed with him. Things got stranger. Sam's parents needed help with shopping, so they hired a helper to run errands for them. One afternoon, as the helper returned from the market, he noticed a woman in a red dress walking ahead of him. She was tall and had long, dark hair. The helper thought she must be a new resident, but something was odd, he couldn't see her face. They both got into the elevator. The woman was silent, and the helper felt a shiver down his spine. When they reached the 5th floor, the woman walked toward Sam's apartment. The helper followed, curious, but when they reached the door, the woman didn't knock. Instead, she walked right through the wall and disappeared into thin air. Terrified, the helper ran down the stairs, his heart pounding. He called Sam, barely able to speak as he told him what had happened. But Sam didn't believe him. He thought the helper was just making up stories because he didn't want to work anymore. Then, something happened to Sam that he couldn't ignore. One evening, while Sam was alone at home, he sat down to have dinner. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. He got up to answer it, but no one was there. Thinking it was a mistake, he went back to his meal, but the bell rang again, this time more urgently. Sam opened the door, again, no one. Annoyed, he thought it was just kids playing tricks. But then, the doorbell started ringing again, faster and faster, as if someone was frantically pressing it. Sam, now really irritated, swung the door open one more time. This time, he froze in fear. A woman stood there with her long, dark hair hanging down, covering her face. Her hand was on the bell, pressing it repeatedly. Her fingers were thin and pale, but her nails were filthy, caked with dirt. She didn't say a word, and as Sam looked closer, he realized he couldn't see her eyes, just darkness where they should have been. Terrified, Sam slammed the door shut and backed away, his heart racing. He waited, trembling, until finally, the ringing stopped. When his family returned home, they found Sam still shaking, too scared to move. He told them everything, and they didn't need any more convincing. That night, they packed their things and left Seabreeze Apartments for good. As they drove away, Sam glanced back at the building one last time. In the window of their apartment, he saw her, the woman in red, her hair blowing in the wind, watching them leave. Seabreeze Apartments was a place of shadows, and the ghosts of its past were not ready to let go.